Sister's boyfriend claims it's disgusting that I shower with the door ajar, and now my family is divided over this bathroom debate. I, 17M, live at home with my 2 sisters and parents. My older sister, 22, has been dating her boyfriend, 21M, for 3 months now. He's been sleeping over at our apartment ever since they started dating, but the frequency of the sleepovers have been increasing over the past few weeks. Our apartment isn't tiny, but it's small enough that we all share a bathroom. The room doesn't have air conditioning and only has one window that doesn't really let a draft through. When you shower, the room steams up a ton, so my whole life we've just either left the door ajar or opened the door fully as soon as we stepped out of the shower and did the rest of our bathroom stuff. The very first time my sister's boyfriend slept over, I was getting ready to go to bed in the bathroom and had the door closed, but unlocked. I was taking off my boxer shorts when he walked into the bathroom. He immediately apologized, closed the door, and we never spoke about it again. Well, last week I thought I was home alone and was taking a shower in the afternoon with the door ajar, as always. After I was done, I opened the bathroom door and continued with my routine, lotion, face cream, stuff like that, and noticed that my sister had come home during my shower. When I was done, I walked into the kitchen to find my sister and her boyfriend having an argument. I didn't want to intrude, so I left and soon heard the front door fall closed. In the evening I made dinner for our family, and while I was cooking, my other sister, 20, came and talked to me. Apparently, our oldest sister and her boyfriend argument was about me and my showering habits. He thinks it's disgusting that I shower with the door ajar and feels uncomfortable with me using the bathroom in my own house. This shocked me, because from the way our bathroom is set up, you can't even see the shower from outside. F the door. I went to my other sister and asked her if this was true, and she refused to talk to me. It's not as if I was the only one that showered like this. We all do. I'm just the only one taking showers in the afternoon/evening when her boyfriend is usually there, because that's when I come home from hockey practice. So, Ida for not completely closing the bathroom door while I shower? Update 1. Hi guys. Okay, to make it easier I'm gonna give my sisters' names, because otherwise I think it's gonna get confusing. The sister whose BF was the issue I'll call Ava, and my other sister Vic. Sister's boyfriend I'll call Ben. Today Vic came home pretty early, so when I heard her arrive I immediately asked her to talk about yesterday. Since some of you brought it up, I asked her if he actually used the word disgusting or if she thinks Ava was paraphrasing, and in her opinion Ava said it in a way she thought that Ben had actually said it. I also asked her if he'd ever done anything to make her uncomfortable, and she laughed it off, so I truly hope nothing happened there. When Ava came home, she was alone, so I asked her if she would talk to me and she agreed, even though she looked really uncomfortable about the whole situation. I asked her if Ben had actually said it was disgusting or if he only implied it, and she said that he actually said it. I also asked her if she was mad at me or the situation, and that's when she got super angry. She started going off at home how I apparently always have to make every situation about myself, and said some other unsavory things about me. After yelling at me she left the kitchen and went to her room, dramatic door slam and all, which kind of was the trigger for me maybe being a bit too petty. Again, our apartment isn't that huge, so because the kitchen door and my other sister's door was open, Vic heard the entire argument and came to the kitchen to tell me she's on my side. Back to the petty part, my dad is at a business dinner RN. I'll edit this post with a second update when he comes home, because I'm gonna tell him everything that's been said. I don't know if he'll care yet, but I'll tell him all the suggestions you guys gave me in the comments and tell him I'm worried about Ben. Also, BC, it might not have been clear in my original post, I said that I live with my parents. With that I only mean my dad. It's not been long since my mom stopped living with us, so in the heat of the moment I wrote the wrong thing. My sister Ava used to have an apartment one town away, but BC of COVID she lost her job, meaning she couldn't pay rent anymore. She went back to school and has a different job now, but it's entry level and living costs are crazy where we live, so she's still at home. My other sister Vic has a dorm room at her university, but her roommates are all assholes, so she prefers staying at our apartment when she doesn't have 8 a.m. classes. Ben still lives with his parents. Why? I don't know. Also, I don't know why they never stay at his place. That's one of the things I wanted to ask Ava, but she apparently thinks I'm the villain here, so. And lastly, we do have a second bathroom, but it only has a toilet and a sink, so it's not as terrible as some people think it is in the comments. Also, we all have our own rooms, they're just small. Update 2. Sorry it took me a bit to post this, but I talked to my dad. When he stepped through the door I immediately asked him if I could talk to him about something, and he was really confused what it's about. He actually asked me if I wanted to tell him I had a GF/BF, haha. So we sat down in the living room and I asked him if he knew what happened yesterday, but he said he only knew that Ava was mad at me, nothing more. I told him everything and he was extremely shocked and also kind of mad. The first thing he suggested was also that Ben's upset, because 2 days before Ben complained about me, I had friends over and cuddled with one of my male friends watching a movie, and apparently he seemed annoyed by that. The second suggestion he had was just that he disliked me for whatever other reason, and that's why he was mad and called me disgusting. He went into Ava's room to talk to her about it and I don't know what was said, but he came out like half an hour later and told me that Ben wasn't welcome to sleep over anymore. Of course I asked him what happened during the conversation, but he was really vague about the entire thing. I'm going to make Vic try and talk to Ava to find out what's going on, because now I'm actually really curious as to what's happened. Sorry it's not that satisfying of an end for today. Also, is it fine if I just keep adding on to this post or should I make a new one? I've had Reddit for a while, but I've never posted properly before this update 3 strap in, because this update is actually kinda crazy. Some of you guessed it correctly, he's a homophobic prick who didn't want me to do, well, anything in my home, because it disgusted him. Not a lot happened after my dad banned Ben from coming over. Ava wasn't talking to any of us, but she didn't argue with us either, so we all just kind of let her cool off. She only slept over at Ben's once, but also didn't try to convince my dad to let him come over. I had a hockey game on the 28th and usually my entire family comes, but this time, surprise surprise, Ava didn't come. I wasn't feeling too great afterwards and went to Vic to vent, and Ava apparently heard that and came into Vic's room to apologize to me. She said that she thinks she's in love with Ben, so she doesn't want to break up with him, but that his behavior was stupid and bigoted, so that already confirmed that it was an issue, because of my sexuality. We kind of made up, which we would have been forced to anyway, because we made plans on the 30th to go to a concert together. The 29th and 30th went great. Ava was talking to me again and we just kind of avoided the whole Ben topic altogether. The conflict and what the update is about was the 31st. Every year I go watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show at our local theater and every year I dress up. The last 3 years I went as Brad, but this year I took 2 friends of mine who are a couple that decided to go as Brad and Janet. Me being me, I took this as the opportunity to go as Frank N. Forter. If you don't know the Rocky Horror Picture Show, he's a self-described transvestite and definitely looks the part. We all had a great time and let's just say, I was pretty drunk and disheveled when I came back home. This was at like 4 a.m. and I'm gonna be honest, I was probably obnoxiously loud, because I knew my dad and Vic wouldn't be home. Vic being at a college party and then her dorm and my dad sleeping at his partner's house. I only took off my heels, nothing else, and went into the kitchen to eat something when Ben walked in. Who would have guessed? My sister broke my dad's rule as soon as he was out. Seeing me, he went off on a tirade about how I'm disgusting, called me a fag, told me how no one would ever love me and told me to go find a church, because I was a disgrace. Funnily enough, I'm Protestant, meaning I was literally in church roughly 10 hours before this interaction, celebrating Martin Luther with my entire family. He was loud as fuck, so of course my sister came out of her bedroom and told him to calm down and said that he should just get back to bed, because he was drunk. Well, he didn't like that and also started shouting at my sister how she was a slut for allowing me to dress like that and I don't even know what else. Reminder, we live in an apartment complex, so of course someone heard us, because during his rant against my sister one of our neighbors knocked and shouted through the door to ask if we were alright. I went to open it and Ben just kind of stormed off into my sister's room and came back a few minutes later in some clothes with his phone and left. Neighbor dude asked if we were okay again after he left, but since we confirmed that we were, he went back to bed. After I had closed the door, Ava was already gone, so I just kind of got ready for bed. I never did get my post going out snack. Well, if the last update wasn't exciting enough for all of you, then this surely has to be. I told one of my friends about it in the morning and her only reply was, I think I've read that in a book before, so I'm gonna take all of this with humor. Update 4, it's currently around midnight for me and it's only been a few hours since my last update, but something else just happened. I was feeling like crap about the whole situation, so I asked one of my friends if I could go over to his house, but his little brother is sick, so he asked if he could come over to my place. My dad was in his room, so I went to him and asked if it was okay and he said it was all fine for him to come over. Ava's room is right next to his room and she had the door ajar. Yes, I do see the irony in the issue with the ajar door, and apparently heard what I said. My room is across from hers, so as soon as I went back to get out the spare blankets, she rushed over to complain to my dad about how unfair it is, that I get to have sleepovers and she doesn't. My dad's only response was that I'm not having my boyfriend over, but a friend, and told her to go to bed. Now it's pretty clear to me that she does also have an actual problem with me and not just her infatuation with Ben making her upset with me. Commenter, so here's the thing. There's 2 things going on here. First and foremost, it's incredibly sad that some people still allow obvious bigots like this Ben douche into their lives. The sister sucks too. But there's a bit of a heartwarming aspect to the story as well. Because the original poster has lived in such a nurturing environment that they seemed legitimately confused about the issue and didn't even immediately jump to the bigotry theory. Not to mention how the ad handled the whole situation. Oop, gonna be honest, this is the first comment that's made me cry and actually think about the situation. I complain about my dad way too much, to actually see how great he's been. Gonna go give him a hug in the morning just because he handled this one situation really well, doesn't mean he's always the best. Like he is understanding of this situation, but that's kind of the outlier. Oop gets home Halloween night at 4 a.m. So technically November 1st, Dad is not there. That's when Ben and Oop have the confrontation. Oop's dad gets home sometime that day. Oop writes the first part of the update that afternoon. Oop asks his dad if his friend can come over sometime after writing the update. Friend comes over and Ava goes bananas. Oop updates post again when it is near midnight his time, so technically November 2nd. Update 5. First of all, sorry it's actually been ages, gonna be honest, I kind of forgot about my post with everything going on. And now, what you were waiting for, What did my dad do in the end? I'll just pull the band-aid off. Ben got arrested for unrelated charges. He hasn't been to court, so I've got no clue what his sentence is going to be, but I'm 90% sure it won't be jail or anything like that. Now that there's proof he's a horrible human being, my dad gave my sister an ultimatum: stop all contact with Ben or our family stops talking to her and supporting her until she comes to her senses again. Ava has now officially moved out into a town 3 hours away from us and, as far as I know, hasn't spoken to my immediate family since then. She still has contact with my cousin's ex-wife, random, I know, but she's kind of a crazy bitch, so I've got no clue what they've been cooking up. She's still invited to our Christmas dinner on both the 24th and 25th, so we'll see if she shows up to either of the celebrations. I'm assuming, kind of hoping, NGL I want to see her just to know how she's been. She'll be there on the 24th. Since our Italian family is coming to visit for the first time since 2019. In better news, Vic and my dad have been absolutely supporting of everything that's been going on, and Vic has a new boyfriend who's awesome and keeps showing up Ben in every way there is. And lastly, because I got a few either weird or homophobic private messages: no, I'm not dating my friend, he's got a partner, and no, I'm also not dating my neighbor. One person asked that and I gotta let you down, he's like 45 and has 2 kids. Add on, I realize this post just created more questions than answers, so I'll try to answer as much as I can think of. Ava has always had pretty bad mood swings, she's a very hot and cold person, so it truly didn't surprise me that she can't really make up her mind on if she wants to be with Ben or acknowledges he's a bigot. Since she has officially moved out now at the beginning of December, she hasn't contacted me, Vic, or my father at all, but my dad has been texting her updates on what's going on in our lives. She's still in our extended family group chat, so she got the Christmas invitations, but hasn't reacted to any of them. Ben got into a bar fight that caused injuries to 2 people and then proceeded to drunkenly drive his car when he heard that the cops were called. Then he also insulted said cops when they found him a block away not being able to drive in a straight line. The day after this happened, my sister broke down in my dad's arms and he was really great at comforting her, but as soon as she calmed down he set the ultimatum I talked about. Ben's trial date, I truly don't know what it's called, since I don't live in a primarily English-speaking country, is set for the 26th and 27th, because apparently it takes my country's government almost a month to even set a court date, yet alone hold it. My extended family knows nothing about this. Most of them aren't very close to us. For example, the only ones that know I'm queer are the queer ones themselves, because they were able to clock me. I'm really not hard to clock, but almost no one still got it, so I truly don't think they know anything about Ava's relationship troubles. I hope this helped clear things up, but I'm here for any questions. Thank you. I'll try to keep this in mind and I'll ask Vic to talk to her or at least tell her something along those lines.